Gender-based violence and gender inequality do not only rob women of their dignity, but also impede their progress and effective participation in national development. Even more serious is the situation of women with disabilities, including women with mental health conditions. Today, International Women's Day, Ghana's attention is being drawn to the plight of women with mental health conditions.
Here in Ghana, it's not always easy having a mental health condition and then trying to fit in society, especially when you're a woman. So for instance, if a woman is going through depression, it entails a lot. Being depressed, sometimes you are not able to do your day-to-day activities that you are supposed to do. So if I'm to take myself as an example, I have bipolar, I go through depressive states. If I'm depressed, I'm supposed to wake up in the morning, clean the house, bath for my son, prepare his meal for him to go to work, to go to school, prepare myself and come to work. If I'm depressed, I can't do all those things. So it is a challenge. So then who now has to do those things? So if you don't have anybody to help you, that is where you find it very, very challenging.
A woman with a mental health condition, for example, might have small children, and she'll be worried that if she speaks out, that those children could be taken away from her, or that her husband will divorce her, or that she might be taken to a prayer camp, for example, in Ghana. So all those things would be really worrying for a woman with a mental health condition and need to be thoroughly thought through for all women with mental health conditions.
Lack of knowledge about mental health conditions and inadequate health facilities and support systems have compounded the problems of women with mental health conditions in Ghana, resulting in job loss, divorce, among others.
We all have these erroneous impressions that once you have a mental health condition, it means you are mad. And there are so many superstitions when it comes to mental health. People they are just so scared, and it's like you are dangerous. That's what they think. People think even some of the mental health conditions are contagious. Anything related to mental health is underfunded when it comes to even our medications. Our medications are not on the National Health Insurance Scheme. They are also very expensive. So even if I have a mental health condition, I visit the facility, I'm given my prescription. Now it comes to the issue of paying for my medication. And the medication, it's not like you take it one day and that is it. You have to take it over a period of time. For me, I'm still taking my medication. It has taken years, and I don't know when I'm going to stop taking them, but that's what I need to do to be able to live a normal, healthy life. So in Ghana here, mental health is really, really underfunded.
With a very good support system, women with mental health conditions could also live normal life like every other person and contribute to the development of the country, as it is in other parts of the world like the UK.
So if you're asking me what my life is like as a woman with mental health conditions, it's pretty much like everybody else's life. I take regular medication, and I'm linked to really fantastic health service provision here in the United Kingdom. So I'm able to function just the same as the next person. So you wouldn't really tell much difference between me and another woman. I've been living with mental health conditions all my life. I'm really supported by my employer. I believe I'm a good role model for women with mental health conditions, having long-term, enduring and very difficult mental health conditions. With the right support around you, and with a good employer who understands what's happening as well, and of course a very supportive family environment, you're able to just be yourself. And I think that's really difficult for people to understand, that you can actually be really high functioning, you can hold down a really great job, You can be a great mum, you can be a great friend, and you can live a very normal life with a mental health condition. There are some women, though, however, and men, who have mental health conditions that deteriorate and affect their lives. And of course, if you don't have the right service provision for those people, it can be quite difficult.
Among the things that the government of Ghana's attention is being drawn to on today, International Women's Day, is ensuring that provisions that are made for women experiencing gender-based violence are inclusive of women with mental health conditions.
There are many different building blocks from where you start with any country. You need, of course, to have a national hotline or helpline in place for people to be able to contact someone to talk. That is the first step, is to talk about how you're feeling. And of course, if your national hotline or helpline is not accessible for women who are deaf, for example, or women who are deaf-blind, there needs to be some sort of accessible provision for all women with all types of impairments, so women with disabilities can access a hotline or helpline. It's also really important that the sort of provision that you have in country for women who are experiencing gender-based violence, for example, that those things are accessible for women with disabilities. So, for example, if you have a rape crisis centre, or if you have shelters for women who are experiencing intimate partner violence, there's a very high risk of those women being in a situation with a mental health condition because of the gender-based violence they might be experiencing. So it's important that the provision that's available for women is accessible for women with disabilities, including women with mental health conditions. And it's really important that mental health facilities and services are, if you like, gender sensitive. So they understand what the added elements may be for a woman with a mental health condition.
Most of the time, people with mental health conditions, most of them, their condition doesn't enable them to work for themselves. If they could work and get the money, they'll be able to afford. So I think even these medications, they should be even made free. If I know a drug is free, I will just easily go to the hospital and access it. It should really be prioritized when it comes to the national budget. It will really help a lot of people. Seeing a psychologist and a psychiatrist shouldn't be expensive. Now, when I go online and I'm searching, maybe I want to see a psychologist, a session can cost like 100 cedis, maybe for just 30 minutes. And also, we need more psychologists, psychiatrists, mental health professionals in Ghana. People don't even know there are people like that. So let's say I'm a little girl. I am never told that there's a job like that, but maybe I have the passion for helping people, counseling people, just everything related to mental health. I think more noise should be made about it.
We should inculcate mental health education into maybe school curriculum, so that children from their tender age will get to learn some basic symptom signs of mental health condition. That way, if they are going through any form of mental health condition, for instance, their mental health state is moving from good to bad, they'll quickly notice it, and then treatment will begin as early as possible. That way, I think it will help and go a long way, and it will even reduce the amount of vagrants we see on the streets. Because for me personally, I believe due to lack of treatment and early detection, that is why we see people on the streets. But if they are detected early and they begin treatment, we wouldn't get to that stage.
While government is encouraged to work on systems that support women with mental health conditions, the general public is also expected to complement government's efforts by doing away with negative attitudes towards persons with mental health conditions.
It isn't just about the government providing services. The government could be providing a whole range of different services that are really fantastic, but if you're trapped at an individual level, or in a family level, or community, or in your wider society, and you feel so stigmatized by your mental health condition that you dare not speak out, then it doesn't matter if you've got a fantastic mental health service provided for you. You won't access it because you yourself feel so bad about the way in which you feel. So it's really important that you have a very supportive family, that people have the right information and knowledge about mental health conditions. So there's lots of myths and stereotypes around mental health. People think we might be dangerous or we could be unreliable, and that we may not be able to be stable in certain situations that are quite emotional. And so it's really important that everybody's on board. That's men and boys, as well as other women in your community, that they have the right sort of information and they're not perpetuating myths and stereotypes about mental health. And I know, for example, in Ghana, it's even more difficult, as it is in the UK, for men to speak out about their mental health. And that's quite a toxic situation if you have a family set up where you have a man with a mental health condition who is in denial and isn't talking about that. That's going to affect the whole family, and it will affect potentially the community around too. So it's important that women support the men and boys, and likewise that the men and boys support the women and girls. And so everybody's pulling together, and the mass media has a really huge role to play here, whether that's TV, radio, whether it's social media, newspapers and printed media. All of those outlets have the potential to be able to send really positive, strong messages about prevention, treatment and care of mental health.
This year and always, I would encourage you to defend anyone you know who has a mental health condition. Let's be a voice for the voiceless, because some people, because of their condition, they may not be strong to defend themselves. Let's speak up for them. If you know someone who is having issues with their mental health, show them love and care, because you may be the only person who has ever reached out to them. They may be around people all the time, but they may not have someone who actually loves and cares for them and who looks out for them. So let's be kind, let's be loving to one another. Thank you.
The theme for the 2021 International Women's Day is Choose to Challenge. And this is what it means to the mental health fraternity.
Choose to Challenge is about challenging different stereotypes around women. And we're working on a program, the Ghana Participation Program. It's a UK aid-funded program. And what that program is doing is absolutely challenging myths and stereotypes about women with disabilities, and in particular women with mental health conditions. So we're really challenging those myths that you've got a mental health condition because you're cursed or because you did something bad in a former life, or that because you're a woman, you're over-emotional, and you're weak or you're fragile. And so we want to just bust all of those myths and say, no, actually, that's not the case. Women can function really well if they're given the right help and support, if they have a mental health condition. And we want to challenge those stereotypes about mental health being dangerous as well, and people losing their jobs because they're seen as not capable of continuing to do what they do. Go out there and smash it on International Women's Day. Be a proud woman with a mental health condition and show people that, yeah, it's possible to have a great job, a great life, and a well-managed mental health condition.